This is the Realme GT2 Pro. Realme's newest flagship has a lot of improvements over last year's GT series. Some of these include a larger AMOLED panel, a larger battery, a new camera sensor with OIS, and a brand new design. So can this phone hold its own against competing flagships? I'm Angie for GSM Arena, and this is our review of the Realme GT2 Pro. Perhaps the most standout aspect of the GT phones is their unusual design language thanks to Realme's partnership with designer Naoto Fukusawa. This year, some versions of the GT2 Pro have a back made of a bio-based polymer and come in a paper white or a paper green coloring. It's not just a name though. In person, the back feels like paper, and it allegedly has a 35.5% smaller carbon footprint. At 189 grams, it's certainly lighter than glass, and it doesn't feel hefty. The back has a better grip when in hand, and fingerprints and smudges are not an issue. The frame is aluminum, and on the front, the GT2 Pro is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus. Lower down in the front, you'll find an under-display optical fingerprint reader. It works quickly and reliably, and you can also use it to measure your heart rate. You can also use it to quick launch an app by pressing and holding on it until icons appear and then dragging to the app you want to open. One of the best features of the GT2 Pro is its 6.7-inch LTPO2 AMOLED display. Realme claims that it has much lower energy consumption. It's also capable of incremental refresh rate steps, so while it can go up to 120 Hz, it can also drop down to 1 Hz or anything in between. The auto refresh rate works well, but as far as games are concerned, the refresh rate appears to be locked at 60 Hz. The panel also has a 1000 Hz peak touch sampling rate, 10-bit color depth for up to 1 billion colors, and a WQHD+ resolution. The phone supports HDR10+ for high-quality streaming, though for now we only found it to work with YouTube. The phone got 778 nits of max brightness. While it doesn't stand out in its class, it'll be comfortable to use on a sunny day. Its color accuracy is excellent, especially if you stick to the natural color mode. While the visual side of media consumption is clearly a knockout, the audio side of things isn't quite as exemplary. The GT2 Pro sports a standard dual speaker setup that uses a bottom-firing speaker and the earpiece as the second channel. It got a good loudness score on our tests, but the sound quality was only alright. Vocals are clear, though highs get distorted at higher volumes. Overall, the sound lacks fullness, especially when it comes to midtones and lows. Thanks to the 5000 mAh battery and the phone's more efficient hardware overall, the GT2 Pro got an impressive endurance rating of 117 hours. Charging speed was comparable to its predecessor, which is to say, excellent. The 65-watt fast charger got the phone from 0 to 91% in half an hour, and it needed only 40 minutes for a full charge. The phone sports the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset in either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. Unsurprisingly, it smoked the competition in most scenarios. The new chipset, however, runs hot, and Realme also added what's reportedly one of the largest passive cooling systems in any phone to date. The CPU maintained 74% of its max performance with their throttle stress test. With this cooling in place, the GT2 Pro doesn't get too hot on the outside either, and it's comfy to hold after long gaming sessions. The phone comes with Realme UI 3.0 on top of Android 12, and you can expect 2 years of major updates. Realme UI 3.0 is colorful and customizable. You can change everything from the accent colors to icons to the shape of the quick toggles by going into the personalization submenu. Android 12 is all about under-the-hood features, and it's very privacy-focused. For example, there's a privacy dashboard, where you have information about the permissions all of your apps have. In the special features submenu, you can choose to use the smart sidebar or the flexible windows features, which are both great for multitasking. The flexible window can be dragged around the screen, and its size can be adjusted too. On a less software note, the haptic feedback of this phone is fantastic, and it feels great when typing or navigating through menus. The phone has a 50-megapixel main camera with OIS, a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 3-megapixel microscopic macro cam with autofocus and 4x magnification. While the new macro cam seems like a curious addition, we would have preferred a telephoto here instead. During the day, photos look great and are comparable to the competition. Sharpness, detail, and dynamic range are great. Shots are a little noisier when you're inside, but fine detail is retained. Colors are on the conservative side, so if you want more saturation, you might want to switch on the AI toggle. There is no telephoto here, and the phone crops the center of photos captured with the main camera and then upscales them. Photos are good enough for social media, and we found that sharpness is okay. The level of detail is good too. The ultra-wide camera has an extremely wide-angle lens, but you might not guess that because its photos are like nothing out of the ordinary. Despite the fact that they are probably cropped and upscaled back to 12.5 megapixels, the ultra-wide photos are quite detailed. We also appreciated the consistency between the standard and ultra-wide photos in terms of overall rendition and color reproduction. The novel part of the ultra-wide is that you can switch to the new 150-degree mode, where you can capture photos with its full field of view. This allows you to take some dramatic shots. There's even a fisheye mode to make them look even more unusual. The microscope camera's native magnification is 20 times, and with digital zoom, you can push it to 40 times. 20 times shots look way nicer, and we got some pretty neat photos. Still, a proper telephoto would be way more useful. Portraits had convincing bokeh, but images came out soft, and subjects were often very pale. We also noticed noise and uniform areas. We expected better quality portraits from this phone. At night with the main camera, the phone takes sharp shots with plenty of detail, wide dynamic range, and natural-looking photos. In short, they look great. If you switch on the night mode, the shadows get brightened up a bit and highlights are even better, but overall the photos remain generally the same. If you decide to zoom in at night, you'll actually find that shots taken in the standard photo mode look better than those taken in night mode. We were surprised to find that aside from a significant loss in sharpness, the crop zoom photos look good enough for social media. The ultra-wide camera had a similar rendition to the main camera with true-to-life colors, decent levels of detail, and a wide dynamic range. You can get some really nice photos from this ultra-wide, which is rare for a phone camera. Whatever little benefit night mode had for the main camera, it's almost lost with the ultra-wide. We struggled to see any difference in the night mode photos except perhaps the somewhat brighter shadows. The 32-megapixel selfie camera captures good photos, though they're a little pale. We like the level of detail and sharpness, though noise becomes more apparent in lower lighting conditions. The GT2 Pro can record videos up to 8K at 30 FPS on the main camera. It has good sharpness and a nice level of detail, though colors are rather conservative. The dynamic range is wide, but videos would benefit from a little more contrast. There's no stabilization here though, and 8K videos take up significantly more space than 4K. 4K videos from the main camera are great. They look quite similar in terms of colors and contrast, but the field of view is wider and they are stabilized with EIS. The ultra-wide camera can also capture 4K videos, and these are solid. Colors are even livelier than the main cameras. Compared to videos from other ultra-wide cameras, these are fantastic. This is the most premium phone that Realme has ever released, but with premium features comes a high price tag. Its screen, battery life, charging, and camera performance are all stellar, and fully take advantage of the phone's flagship chipset. Yet, unlike its competition, the Realme GT2 Pro does not have wireless charging, nor does it have a telephoto camera. So while it's an easy recommendation overall, you might want to take a look at what else is out there before you make up your mind. Thank you for watching everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.